So the Fireside chat was a hit. We're going to do it again. What the Fireside chat is, if you're new to this format, is we have live shows every single night, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And during those live shows, we have a full panel and we cover a crap ton of true crime. I mean, a metric F ton. When I actually drop the F-bomb, I'll put parental. No, I'm going to do it now because I'm going to warn you right now. This is going to have a lot of very, very sketchy stuff in it. So it's not for children and it's not for the faint of heart. This is a true crime show after all. So let me tell you how the format works. Like and subscribe, first of all, because you don't want to miss this. If you were in the live chat last night and you didn't think that we addressed your comments, here's a good chance that we're going to address your comments from last night. And it's going to be long-winded, so bear with me. Look in the description of this video. I will put the names of the people's questions who I'm going to respond to. So I'm going to give you a one-on-one, your question or comment that I want to make a comment on myself. We're going to do that here rather than on the panel because the panel is very, very busy and we cover a crap ton. It moves very, very fast. So keep that in mind. And so let's just get right at it. Let's get right at it. Here are the questions that went unanswered from last night's Crimes After Dark. Now, before I get too far into Hemisphere 7156's comment, I want to say, yes, I've addressed, or I'm going to address this fire on the screen thing. Some of you were very vocal about how that was too much, and you actually had to turn off the live stream, which was horrible. Horrible. I hate to hear that you had to turn off the live stream because it was making you nauseous with all the movement. We had a ticker going on the bottom, which was moving, and then we have this moving stuff behind us, and then we had the panel with 5 or 6 faces that were moving, and some of you couldn't handle that much movement, and I get it. However, I think that a lot of you did like it, thought it was great. So we're going to meet you halfway. On the Crimes After Dark show, I'm probably going to drop this movement stuff because we're going to have stuff on the bottom. We're going to have stuff on the side. Maybe it's too much. So we'll drop it on the Crimes After Dark because it's way too much going on the screen. But when it's just me and some comments, I'm going to leave it. So if you can't stand it, I understand. It's going to be a smaller portion of the people who can't handle that much movement. But I like the look of it, and I think we can do it on this short show. All right. Hemisphere 7156 said during the show last night, Dago needs someone to be with him to help him get the best out of Dago. He deserves to be happy. Now, I don't know if you were talking about his personal relationship or whether he was talking about having other YouTube people to go with him or other people on screen, but I want to say real quickly, that's the whole reason why we have a panel, is that I found I was better with other people than I am solo. Some people are great solo, and I think I do pretty good. I think you all, like my long form content, but when I'm on the live shows, there was just something missing when I was solo. And since we decided to go with a panel and having interactions, it has become a super special thing. So in that regards, I will agree with you. Dago needs someone to be with him. I don't know if that's true or not, but I'll tell you, having my panel together has brought the best out of me. So thank you, panelists, and thank you, Hemisphere, for bringing up that sentiment. All right, Hottie JG. I was going to have to slow that down because I knew I was going to dyslexic that thing or whatever. Hey, all listening while I work. Real quick, a lot of people listen while they work. Shh, don't tell your boss. That's a very cool thing. Some of you have jobs where you can put on headphones and you can listen all day long. I just want to let you know really quickly that I actually designed my shows with the mind that you might not be able to watch it. So sometimes video is critical where we're actually looking at a video, but oftentimes I'm very aware that a lot of you listen rather than watch. And so just to let you know, I'm keeping that in mind. Thank you for all your listeners who watched during your day. Don't tell your boss. Thank you for checking it out during your workday. Susan Russo, 7503 says, hey, DA, Robin, JJ. And what a surprise to see Logan here too. Hey girl, good to see you. Logan from Bronx Tales True Crime has been a new addition to the show. She has her own very successful YouTube channel, as does Dago from True Crime Cafe, has a very successful YouTube channel. But they're joining us on our panel, and it is something special. It's something special to behold. And JJ State of the Deep on her show, he's going to be launching his own YouTube show. So I think it's a great thing. And Logan, thank you for joining us. It has been amazing. We love having you on the show. Love all of your people as well. It has so far been a very good fit, and we're looking forward to many more nights to come. Smiling Sleuth says, I love when 11 reads this every night. I love when 11 reads this every night. So they're talking about the monologue. 11, who NYPD police officer of 20 plus years, has grown to give us a monologue, a read-in. And I realize not everybody enjoys the monologue. Some people hate it. Some people say it's the worst part of the show. Can you cut the monologue? I almost turn off your show because the monologue. And other people like, oh my God, I love the monologue. It's one of the best parts of the night. So it's a 50-50. You can't please everybody. We here at the Devil's Advocates appreciate 1-1 and everything he does. He's a huge, huge part of my show, a friend, and also kind of like a business partner as well. Like everything about 1-1 is a great thing. We really love his contribution to the show, and he's got his own little fan base going. And yes, we appreciate his monologue. So for those of you who don't like the monologue, it is there to stay. But thank you for calling out that some of you think that that's the great part of the show. And I love how 1-1 always says good night to his wife and kids. Did you know 1-1's wife and kids stay up? His son stays up, I believe, to watch Daddy on TV before going to bed. And they let him stay up to see Daddy say his little intro and say goodnight. I think that's one of the sweetest things ever. Super cool. Keep it up. Voluntarism is the answer, says, I'm slightly whiskey drunk and need to fry chicken. Wish me luck. I'll be dipping in and out. I don't know why. That's fucking funny. I laughed. Whiskey drunk and need to fry chicken. Wish me luck. That is some funny shit. Thank you so much. And I think that comes from Logan's chat over there on her side. So you've got some great people. That was humorous. I wanted to highlight it because that's funny shit. Pat's Mojo, a longtime viewer of this show, says, Devil's Advocates, what happened to the main background? This new one is very cool, yet very distracting when all 5 of you are on. And yeah, she was one of the ones that really couldn't handle all the movement. The ticker across the bottom, the side blowing in flames off the side, and 5 people on screen. It was just too much. We heard you. And because you're a longtime viewer, subscriber, and supporter of this channel, I'm going to ditch something I love. I love it. I think it's great. But you and several others had some problems with all of those movements and graphics and whatever, and it made you a little nauseous. And I don't want to lose a longtime person because you can't handle my show anymore. So we heard you. We will fix it. We'll take it off of the live show. We'll leave it on for this show. Hopefully you're okay with that. But if not, at least you'll still be on the live show where we expect you to be there. Thanks. Cat RT1PH. I bet you that's supposed to be pronounced somehow. I just don't know. Anyways, I just seriously love this panel. Is Dago feeling better? Dago did not join us tonight. Dago's been feeling under the weather. He was horribly sick the other night and too much tonight. So we miss Dago. True Crime Cafe, the meatballs, and all the different he's got like 10 nicknames, it seems like, for his community. We missed them all. I know that some of them made it anyways because Dago wasn't on. So yes, and thank you for saying you love the panel. We love what we've got going on here. It's very special. And we miss Dago, so come back, get well, brother. Looking forward to having you back on ASAP, but not too soon. Don't rush back just because you feel like there's some kind of obligation. You can take some sick days, dude. Take some sick days. Alley Girl E6S says, JJ likes to read chat and answers, and thank you, JJ. Yes, one of the things I've noticed as well is JJ is very attentive to the chat and will call things out. Hey, I was just reading the chat and I saw this. And I know a lot of you love the host to interact with the chat. I get it. I am a wordy son of a bitch. You should know that by now. And Dago is a wordy son of a bitch. And Logan, she has a few things to say herself. And Robin, we're trying to encourage her to talk more. And JJ could talk forever. And yes, JJ is engaging the chat more, and we appreciate that very much. But the whole reason for the Fireside chat is because I am trying to do my best to engage you without stepping over my panelists. My panelists are there for their opinions as well, and I have my opinions, and it's just a lot. And so I'm not doing the best for probably chat engagement, but this is my solution. So I hope you would enjoy at least this. Fiji 98 says, coming in late from birdies, but did you have a chance to catch Lana's live today? She was on fire. Now here's the thing. I've said I cannot say this enough. I am so effing busy. I spend all the time researching 5 different cases, 6 actually, or 7, because there's some cases that I'm looking into that we're not covering yet or we're not talking about yet. I'm reading legal documents, watching stuff all the time. I don't unfortunately have time to watch Birdie's show and Dago's show and Lana's show. Lana sometimes and Dago both stream for hours and hours and hours at a time. I can't possibly watch all those shows. So it's no sign of disrespect, in my opinion, that I don't watch those shows. But no, I don't have time to watch Birdie. I don't have time to watch Lana. And it's not out of disrespect. It's that we are busy as a one-legged man in an ass-kicking contest over here. We're super fucking busy, so I don't have time to watch all those other shows. As an aside, by the way, while I love other channels and I talk favorably about other channels, and I'm not calling you out on this, Fiji, but I think one of the things that I do get a little bit sometimes about is when people come in and tell everybody they should go watch another channel. Don't do that. And at Fiji, you're not doing that, but that's the one area where I love talking positively about other channels, and I want to promote other channels, and I want to have other channels on with this. But one thing I don't like is when somebody comes into our chat and says, you all should be watching so-and-so instead. You need to have caught so-and-so's live. You should shut this off because so-and-so is live right now. That wouldn't fly. And I know you didn't do that, Fiji, so that's not what I'm calling you out. I'm just taking the moment, since you prompted it in my head, to say, don't do that on our chat. Don't show disrespect by coming in and telling people you should be watching somebody else instead of this guy. That wouldn't fly very well. But thanks. Stephen Wolf 409. Lee, you was hot last night. I mean, your theories. LOL. Okay, yeah, I get it. I'm not the hottest guy. Never have been the hottest guy. So it's pretty funny that you have to like clarify. Let me clarify. I'm not meaning you were hot. I'm saying your show was hot. I get it. Having said that, anyways, I appreciate it. I appreciate it nonetheless. Resist the Woke says, DA, would you guys ever consider doing retro cases like the Zodiac? Yeah, yes, and maybe. So let me clarify this real quick. I love some of those retro cases. I love it. The Sunday crew, every Sunday I take a day off on Sunday, not for religious reasons. I take the day off just because I have friends come over and play cards on Sunday, and it's my day that I just try to unpack. But our team is already doing retro cases. They're looking into Kurt Cobain's quote unquote suicide, which I think the team doesn't believe is a suicide. And they're talking about that, breaking it down. It's getting better and better all the time. And that is kind of the retro case of the month. They're going to pick up other retro cases, and it may be other musicians like maybe Soundgarden's Chris Cornell or something like that. I'm not sure what they've got in the works, but I'm letting them do that thing on the side. Whether I myself get into all retro cases or not, we're not sure, because right now I am buried in current cases. But I like these other cases. I've watched true crime cases my whole life, so I'm aware of these cases on a surface level already. So maybe. And if I do it, it may be a members only kind of thing as a bonus case that we're covering, or a retro case for members only. I don't know if it's gonna be part of the regular show because there's so much going on in the main cases, but thanks for asking. And we will touch on some retro cases somehow. DJ's allegedly Immo True Crime 1998. I'm pretty sure I screwed that up somewhere. Says, if it's okay with the channel owner, can you drop my true crime link in the chat? I'm doing absolute best to grow my subscribers. I don't think YouTube, doesn't allow YouTubers to drop their own links into other people's shows. Maybe we could drop your link for it. But let me clarify this. I don't generally endorse a channel until I know that I like your channel. So I don't like to just drop links and say, hey, everybody, check this out, when I have no clue what you're about. So the best thing I can say for getting us to help promote your channel, and we do like promoting smaller channels and helping them out, because people did that for me when I was smaller, and that large channels would help me get recognized. I would like to pay it forward as well. So if you got a cool thing going on, we'll try to get our mods and our other friends to watch your show and say, yeah, DA, you should probably look at that guy's video. Here's a great one to go look, or whatever. That person, I don't know if you're a man or a woman. So that's the best way to do it. Get our mods to watch your videos, and then if we like what you're doing, we can try to have you on the show sometime for a guest appearance and talk about your channel. And that's the best way to do that going forward. By the way, real quick, I wanted to give a shout out to the people who donated money, hard-earned money, to the channel. All of you, of course, are potentially getting served ads. That's how YouTubers primarily make their money, or until they get a big endorsement of some kind, which we aren't there. And I don't think anybody on our show has endorsements or product people or whatever, but we live off of ad revenue, or we try to get some kind of money out of the ad revenue, and super chats, super stickers. So here's some of those people we want to acknowledge. Logan slays it. I think everybody else slays it a little bit more than us. For some reason, I don't like to ask for gifts, and I don't have any problems with anybody who does ask for gifts. I'm not good. I'm not good at asking for it. So when I'm on stream, I often see everybody donating money left and right to the channels that are on with me. That's cool. And people, believe me, we've got plenty of people who donate to this channel as well. But real quick, I wanted to shout out to the people who gave Logan some drops, $5. We had new members join my channel tonight. Turkey Creek Gal joined our channel for the first time tonight. It looks like somebody gifted memberships to Logan over there. 6 different gift memberships from one person there on that screen. And we've got more that I want to show. All right, here's some more of those gifters. Again, Logan got a good donation there, another donation there, and a big donation there. Logan. Good for you. I mean that. I'm not pissed off, but I want to be able to show you guys. Look, this is great. These are how YouTubers survive. This is how we keep this going, because some of us literally have to make a choice of going to work or trying to do this, and you can't do both. So thank you for all the gifters. Again, great support for Logan and Bronx Tales. Appreciate that. Keep it up. And then last but not least, because it didn't fit on those other screens, again, I think we got a gifted membership as well from our side. I think she gifted memberships on both sides. I'm not sure, but anyways, so those are our special gifters for tonight. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. Appreciate that very much. Now, because so much of our show is on Idaho 4, so much of the population wants to talk about Idaho 4 and nothing else, I'm going to highlight a few quick and dirty comments from the other cases we follow. Luigi Mangione, Delphi, Mickey Steins, that there's only a couple questions to read because it's not much. Most of the night was Idaho 4. So we're just going to do a couple of comments real quick from those other cases, and then the rest of this Fireside chat will be Idaho 4. In fact, we might have to do a second video to cover all of the comments that I want to talk about from Idaho 4. That's how many we had. All right. Silenced Unchained in the Luigi Mangione case said, State of the Deep, addressing JJ, I really want to pick your brain on Luigi. You really have me thinking now. Yes, JJ has some great thoughts. He's big into that probably was a staged shooting. And again, I try to be careful about the whole conspiracy theory angle, but if there was a case that calls for it, this one, Luigi Mangione and Mickey Stein's cases, both have the earmarks for that's the kind of thing that could happen in those cases. Those particular, not so much Idaho 4 as a staged thing, not so much Delphi as a staged thing, but in the big money cases like primarily United Healthcare situation, big money. That's where you're going to see that kind of stuff potentially creep in. And even in the Mickey Steins case, because of how far up the ladder that corruption goes, which would again be into big money. So thank you, Silenced Unchained. Hope you get a chance to talk to JJ. In the future, we're going to have JJ and anybody else that you call out with questions, record a personal response and add it. But we're just kind of getting this Fireside chat started. In addition, we had a comment about the Charlie Kirk and Tyler Robinson story. Charlie Kirk assassinated by allegedly Tyler Robinson. Wadebird 77 says, 77YS8VD, let's not forget the rest of that. Tyler Robinson's hearing today. Defense team trying to disqualify the prosecutors. We did start out covering Charlie Kirk when it first happened. We had, in fact, the biggest video that this channel has ever had was a Charlie Kirk video. And I think the second biggest video we ever had was a Charlie Kirk video. And then it got real political real fast. And the topic kind of died for us. And our users didn't know how to handle Charlie Kirk. So while I watch it peripherally and JJ watches it much more heavily, and we will talk about it from time to time, especially in the lives like we did tonight just briefly. It's not a heavy part that the show watches, but thank you for bringing that to our attention. Tyler Robinson had a hearing today, and the defense team is trying to disqualify the prosecutors, which is super interesting. I didn't know that, and like I said, I'm peripherally following it, so I'm going to have to do some research myself now. And now just a quick couple of things on Delphi, a couple of questions or comments on Delphi, and then the rest will be all Idaho 4 because that's what everybody talks about. Real quick, Pumpkin Field 100 says, free Richard Allen. What I was so, and this came from Logan's Bronx Tales side of the equation, her over on her chat. Super excited when I talked to Logan, Bronx Tales, new member of kind of the panel and a new regular. You're going to see her a lot. We talked a little bit about other cases that she follows, and she said she had followed Richard Allen's case in Delphi, but really hasn't since the appeal got dropped, and she hadn't read the appeal. She said hopefully she can do it. It's a lengthy one. She's going to go read that appeal, she said, after she got off of our show last night, and get caught up and talk about this case. And her chat, I think, is indicating they'd like to see that. We'd like to see that. It's a big, big, big thing. And I can't wait to talk to Logan about the Richard Allen case in the Delphi and the appeal. So thanks for joining us. And then one other user, again, from Logan's side, from Bronx True Crime, Bronx Tales True Crime, slaughtered that one. Ms. Mojo Risen says, I'm feeling conflicted with the Delphi case, as are a lot of people conflicted with the Delphi case. That's why I asked Logan at the very beginning, how do you feel? Do you think Richard Allen actually did it, or do you have questions in that case, and how do you feel about the appeal? And I think she shared, not going to necessarily be super popular with my audience, but I think he might be innocent. And I don't know how her audience feels, but this user says they're conflicted about their feeling in the Delphi case. I understand that. And that's why I can't wait for you to listen to Logan and the panel discuss the Delphi as she gets back up to speed with that case. And she'll be ahead of me looking retroactively, right? She'll be ahead of me because she said she used to follow it. I didn't follow it back in the day. So it's going to be a great discussion, having Logan on board for her experience and when she used to follow it, and my experience as I'm following it brand new. It should be special, and I can't wait for it. All right, and without further ado, now we're into Idaho 4 specifically. So hopefully those who are waiting, this is it, Idaho 4. Susan Russo 7503 on Logan Bronx Tales True Crime says, Lee, have you seen any of Jules' videos lately about the business that Steve Gonzalez and Christy have in connection with some woman that's connected to numerous businesses, all having the same P.O. box? I do believe I know what you're talking about. And so I do believe I know what you're talking about. And where do I go with it? I haven't vetted it enough to feel comfortable talking about it. So I want you to know, yes, I believe I know what you're talking about. Just to let you know that I think I know what you're talking about. I think that the word escort was listed in one of those businesses with this woman. And so I know that, and I haven't vetted it enough to talk about it. But thank you very much, Susan Russo 7503, for the question. I am aware of it. It's on my radar, not ready to talk about it publicly other than what I just did. So thank you. All right, Michelle F22, another regular and longtime supporter of the show. Lee, why do you think Kopacka's eye picture is manipulated? Did I say that the other night? I might have said that the other night. I'm kind of thinking back. So there's a famous picture that's Brent Kopacka that somebody has zoomed into his eyeball, and in the eyeball you can see a reflection of something, and it looks like it could be, and it's been everything said to me on the face of the earth. It's Brent Kopacka that is looking at Brian Koberger's family house in Pennsylvania, because allegedly he went to Pennsylvania, and it says, I see you. And he's trying to send a hidden message to Brian Koberger. I'm stalking you. I'm outside your house. I see you. It's some kind of implication that Brent Kopacka has his eyes on the Koberger family in Pennsylvania. Another thing says you can see the Grub truck and the reflection of his eye. And so he was at the Grub truck that night. Another one says it was the 1122 King Road residence that's reflected in his eye. Whatever the case may be, it's a freaking reflection in the eye. And I think what I might have said was it would be easy to Photoshop, manipulate that, and you already can't tell what it is exactly. And multiple residents have been said about it, and it would be easy to manipulate. So at this point, I don't spend a lot of cycles on the ICU photo of Brent Kopacka. So I'm aware of it. I don't know that I said I think it's manipulated. I think what I was trying to imply is I'm not going to spend a lot of time on the photo because I feel like it's a shit show. of speculation. That's all. It's just I just feel like it's a bunch of speculation because we don't know what image it is. So could I clean it up? Could I enhance it? I don't know. For what it's worth, it's not a bad question. So don't get me wrong. It's not a bad question. And for those of you who think that you see Kohberger's house or the Grub truck or the King Road residence or whatever, that's fine. But I just feel like I can't with confidence say what it is. And until I can say with confidence what it is, I don't want to build a lot of time around it. That's all. Thanks for asking. All right. Lisa Marie 5948 says they were saying the Grub truck receipt Kaylee Gonzalez posted had the date rubbed off. I said she posted a close-up today and you can see the date. Then people still kept saying you couldn't read it. LOL. So what is she talking about? So there was a discussion earlier on that the Grub truck receipt was seen of Kaylee's and you couldn't, and they were looking, people were zooming in to try to see it, whatever. That was the allegation. That somebody was zooming in to try to see the date on the receipt and you couldn't see the date. It had been rubbed off. A video has recently been posted, I believe, by Christy Gonzalez, where she found Kaylee's sweater from the night that she was at the Grub truck, and in the pocket, and I saw this video. I saw the video with myself. Christy pulled out to show us that she found in the pocket the Grub truck receipt from Kaylee that night, and it was a touching moment about how this was the last, kind of known place that she was alive, at that Grub truck. And people were then commenting about, hey, wait a minute, I thought we couldn't read the receipt, the date on the receipt. And here it is, plain as day. And now I think what this user is saying is people who are holding to just say whatever you can to keep the story to a thing are saying, even on the receipt that you can see the date on, they're still insisting you can't see the date because you've been told that you couldn't see the date. That's a lot. Anyways, let's leave it at that. I don't have a lot of comments on that I want to share right now, but thanks for asking. Mama J 227 asks or says, but Brian's name showed up on the docs dated 12/5, so that could also be BK. What is she talking about? There was a document that we showed the other night that had a BK redacted, and we said that very, very likely is Brent Kopacka. This person, Mama J, is saying, how do you know it's not Brent Kohberger? Well, let me tell you two reasons why we don't believe it was Brian Kohberger. It was actually Brent Kopacka. One, remember a judge actually said Brent Kopacka's name. Two, early on, Judge said Brent Kopacka and then cut it off. So we know that it was on the consciousness or whatever of their thing. We know now there's other documents. Lots of tips were called in about Brent Kopacka, and that's probably how his name got in there. In addition, if you look at the length of the redaction of the last name, it's not long enough in characters for Kohberger. It's long enough for Kopacka. It is not long enough for Kohberger. So that's another reason why we don't believe it was Kohberger. It's actually Kopacka. In addition, I believe it also talked about that person, I think that was the same document talking about that person's apartment having just been painted. Brian Kohberger did not have his apartment just painted. Brent Kopacka had recently moved into these apartments, perhaps at the Coffee House Apartments or Pimlico Apartments. Either way, he was bouncing around in a lot of different places, and it would be more logical that Brent Kopacka was in a place that had just recently been painted. All of those reasons are the reasons why we're saying we don't think, despite the fact that I know you're pointing out that Brian Kohberger's name did appear on some documents on 12/5. By the way, that itself is a big thing. If you don't know this, this is taking longer to answer than I thought I was going to. Again, Brett Payne in the Moscow Police Department said the first time they heard of Brian Kohberger's name was when the FBI told them about Brian Kohberger on 12/19. 12/19. He said under oath that was the first time they'd heard of Brian Kohberger in relation to this crime. And yet, Idaho State Police released some documents in which suspect number 2, there was a suspect 1 and a suspect 2. Suspect 1 was still redacted on the form, but suspect 2 had been unredacted, and the name was clearly Brian Kohberger on December 5th. December 5th. Now, they claim that was a computer error. Brian Kohberger's name was never known to them on December 5th. Somehow they had some kind of computer backdate and put Brian Kohberger's name in. I cry horse shit. Brian Kohberger's name, I think, was on their radar as early as December 5th. That's why this person's saying, well, if Brian Kohberger was on their name on the radar December 5th, then maybe it was Brian Kohberger they were talking about in that document. And for the reasons I just stated a minute ago, we still believe it's Brent Kopacka. Thanks for asking. Wade Bird 77, I think this is from Logan's side of the equation, says, How would Fry have been put on to Kopacka to be of suspicion? Did another tip from the FBI first go to Kopacka? That was kind of new to me, this idea that Chief Fry was bugging Kopacka prior to Kopacka being shot and killed in Pullman on December 15th. He was bugging him and perhaps asking Kopacka about possible involvement in Idaho 4. That would be huge to me if it can be proven. That's the first time I heard somebody say, well, wasn't Chief Fry all over Kopacka? And I'm like, what? Like, I never heard Chief Fry was all over Kopacka. If he was all over Kopacka, I need the receipts. And shame on me for not knowing this earlier, because I've been talking about Kopacka for the longest time. I got Billy Joel in my head right now. Anyways, the point being is I've been talking about Kopacka for the longest time. Still have Billy Joel in my head. But I didn't know Chief Fry was up his ass about it. And so I would like to know that as well. And if Chief Fry was up Kopacka's ass, so to speak, how did he get that name? Was it from the FBI? Great questions. Let me know if you've got receipts on any of that. All right. This is from Heather Blessman, LK6YU. I heard too that Brent was called a lot by MPD asking him questions about the murders, which is why he got so paranoid thinking people were watching him. So once again, this is kind of news to me that NPD was all over Brent Kopacka, but that would be huge to me. So I need receipts. I need help because I can't believe I've missed that. But if NPD was all over Brent Kopacka, then yes. And this is what we talked about on the show. If you missed it, Brent Kopacka may have been triggered because he was tired of them saying he's involved with the Idaho 4 murders. Some people said Brent Kopacka cried out that night, I didn't kill those kids, or I didn't kill the roommates, or something to that effect, that he was getting. And at some point, we heard Brent Kopacka say something like, I'm so sick of you guys. Is he sick of them because they were all over his ass? And did they trigger Brent Kopacka into a PTSD moment because they were all over him thinking he was involved in the Idaho 4 murders? Let me reiterate one more thing. Darren Duncan, Brent Kopacka's good friend, went on the Rav show on YouTube and said, hey, I wish I would have been there that night. I maybe could have talked him out. I think the police were believing that Brent Kopacka was involved with the Idaho 4 murders, and that's why they were overzealous and shot and killed him. That's what he said. I think they thought he was involved in the Idaho 4 murders. Brent Kopacka may have been tired of them accusing him of being part of the Idaho 4 murders, and they triggered him into a standoff that ended very, very poorly and ended with the loss of his life. If that's the case, we need the receipts that Moscow was all over Brent Kopacka. Michelle F22 again says, I always thought Kopacka was with Kyle Payne, not Brett. Let me clarify that a little bit. Brett Payne was 82nd Airborne. Brent Kopacka was 82nd Airborne. The question, and they both served in the same paratrooper team, which narrows it down quite a bit. But their years of service may be off. And we've got public records requests in the work to try to prove that they were or weren't ever overlapping or in the same theater of operations at the same time. I have reason to believe that they were. But if they weren't, we're trying to prove that so we can let that part go to bed. But Kyle Payne is the brother of Brett Payne. And he was of the age, some say, to have been more likely associated with Brent Kopacka, 82nd Airborne. But the problem with that is I don't believe, if I remember right, I don't believe Kyle Payne was 82nd Airborne. So that's the problem. Brett Payne was 82nd Airborne. Brent Kopacka was 82nd Airborne. But Kyle Payne, I don't think was 82nd Airborne. And so while Kyle Payne might be of the right age to be more aligned with Kopacka's dates of service, you follow the logic, he may not have been in the same division. So then the question becomes, well, did Brent Kopacka meet Kyle Payne and through him met his brother Brett? Did Brett Payne meet Brent Kopacka and through him met Kyle? It's crazy. The point being is great questions, but I don't think Kyle Payne was 82nd Airborne, but let me know if I'm wrong. All right. From Logan, Bronx Tales, True Crimes side of the chat, Foxy Rose OU8HL says, yes, it does, a hatchet wedge. What is that taken out of context? It's a small thing, but it triggers the thing. Logan on our show from Bronx Tales made the comment that when she was looking at the crime scene photos, she noticed that the bed of Ethan Chapin, if I'm remembering what she said correctly, the bed of Ethan Chapin has a cut in it that looks like it was more likely done with a hatchet than with a knife, which is interesting because some people have said that the girls were also attacked with a hatchet. We did talk on the stream last night about there was a hatchet buried in the wall of Brent Kopacka. Here we are with Kopacka. Yeah, we spent a lot of time talking about Kopacka last night. Brent Kopacka had a hatchet buried in the wall on the crime scene photo of the apartment after they shot and killed him. And I freaked out and said, what the fuck is with the hatchet in the wall? Who had the hatchet? Was it Brent Kopacka's hatchet? Was it a police officer's hatchet? Why is there a hatchet buried in Kopacka's wall? And why is that important? Because some people said there was an axe throwing contest the night of the murders. And was that a throwing axe? Lots of questions going around. But the hatchet wedge in the mattress was something I hadn't heard before. This is why it's so cool having Logan on the show. Logan also shared that she stabbed a neighbor's mattress with a knife, with her 7-inch knife, to test how the the wound would look on a bed. That's some dedication to your craft right there. I don't think the mattress, by the way, was on her neighbor's bed at the time. I think it was in the trash or something like that was out on the street or something like that. But the point being is that's some dedication. She's going and testing to see, can she recreate that wound? Badass. This is why Logan's somebody you should be watching. Bronx Tales, True Crime. All right. Cat RT1FPH. We've had this, I think, before. I didn't pronounce it right the first time. I'm not going to pronounce it right the second time. I still think we need to figure out who that dude was in the puffer jacket and boots who came in late just standing there. Who was that guy? I think she's talking about somebody at the corner club that showed up on camera at the corner club, I think. And I don't know enough about this. So thank you for asking the question. I don't know anything about that whole thing. The puffer jacket coming in, standing there by himself, all of that stuff I don't know. I think you're talking about the corner club. So if anybody has the story on that, the receipts, especially of the video, fantastic. Let me know. I'll look into it. Another one from the same user, CatRT1PH. Kaylee consistently on her phone, flicking her hair, doing selfies. Who was she talking to? Great, great question. Wouldn't it be interesting if the law enforcement officers thought that it was worth looking into what the girls were doing and who they were talking to just prior to getting murdered? I don't know if they did or they didn't, but it hasn't shown up in the court documents that I've seen so far. We haven't seen anything about them investigating what the girls were doing. They basically have said what happened at the corner club is irrelevant. I didn't pronounce it right. Irrelevant to the murders. They kind of basically have already decided nothing that happened at the corner club has anything to do with the murder. I disagree. In fact, I have stated one time, everything that happened at the house that night probably relates to something that happened at the corner club that night. That's one of my gut feelings, that everything about the murders has to do with what happened at the corner club that night. But that's something I can't prove. So anyways, the fact that Kaylee I should say fact because I've heard it from sources I trust. I think somebody that watched the video, the corner club video recently, maybe it was 1-1, maybe it was JJ, maybe it was both of them, said Kaylee was on her phone all night long at the corner club. She was on the phone all night long and taking selfies and stuff like that. So I think that's true. And who she was doing that with might actually be important, considering that she just got brutally murdered. So yeah, I would want to know as well. All right, I think this comes from Logan's side, Bronx Tales, True Crime, DA. You need to do a chat call-in show like Birdie. We are dying to tell you what's up. Am I right, chat? Now, look, here's the thing about that. Thank you for bringing it up. And I have tried many times to invite callers to come up. I've said, here's the link, come up on show. Here's the link, come up on show. And almost no one takes us up on it. Just the other night, we did have Twiz come up on screen. So he's one of the few people who've done it. We've had a few people come up on screen. But for the most part, we end up looking pretty bad in the sense that we beg people to come up and join us on screen and bring some questions out, and they don't take us up on it. Birdie's a different kind of show. Birdie Bombshells, if you're not familiar with Birdie Bombshells, he's a different kind of show. He's way more of an entertainer than I am. So, and he engages his chat better than I do. And so he does a call-in show, and if he asks for anything, people just pour into anything that he does. He's got a gift with that. I don't have that gift. So I've tried to engage the audience, getting them up on screen. It doesn't work. Maybe it's because I talk too much. Maybe people think that I don't give people space. So what's the point of coming on my show? Because I'm never going to let them get a word in edgewise. Some of you know and have said you're very respectful to your guests, especially when you're interviewing somebody. You let them talk all the time. But maybe that's the reason. Whatever the reason may be, I'm not Birdie's show. Birdie's way better at it. When we ask people to come on, they just don't take me up on it. We've tried and tried and tried. We'll try again if you want us to, but it just hasn't worked out. This feels like a really long one. That's what she said. Tiny True Crime Mama. Sorry, Tiny True Crime Mama says, and this comes from, I think, one of our, from Logan's side, or someone was a CI and they were supposed to be watching the house, hence LE, or law enforcement, circling the house multiple times and lying about their body cam timing. Now, this is a really interesting comment, and I'll fill you on what it means. Steve Gonzalez had made some kind of comment allegedly saying, if the law enforcement officers had been watching the house, maybe nobody would have gotten killed, but instead they were over doing these arrests at the band field, right? The band field people for the underage drinking. So he kind of suggested if they were doing their job and watching the house, maybe nobody would have died. To which somebody in our chat said, well, how are they supposed to be clairvoyant? Do they know a hit was coming? But I want to bring up this point, and I think I've got another another comment that I'm going to pin. I think I pinned it twice, and I may not have to deal with it the second time I bring it up. So forgive me if that happens. But I'm just thinking this was so important. I wanted to bring up twice. Consider the possibility, and I don't like big conspiracies, but consider the possibility. If the murders happened between 2:30 and 3:30 in the morning, as many people think that it does now because of the sounds that we hear between 2:30 and 3:30 in the morning from the 1112 King Road residence camera. If the murders happened during that time frame and not at 4 o'clock to 4 or 4:07 to 4:20, as the official timeline says, then that Banfield stop kind of happens right in the middle of those murders happening. And then you have to ask yourself, or at least I have to ask myself this question: could the Banfield stop have been a diversion to keep the cops from looking at the house they were supposed to be watching? There's an argument to be made, and I'll try to be brief, but I'm not great at it, and especially when I'm trying to bring up the speed, that one of the officers on body cam seen recently, a newly released footage, I think is relatively new, said, hey, I don't know if you know this. He's talking to another officer, Lanier, at the crime scene, but one of the victims is a CI. So if one of the victims of the house was a confidential informant, is it possible that the police were supposed to be watching that house that night? This is a big, 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 big point, so please pay attention. If there was a CI that worked with the police in that house and they were watching the house to protect their CI, and then somebody distracted them, either intentionally or unintentionally, so that the people who were watching the house went and got distracted, then the murders could have happened literally right under their nose when they should have been watching the house. Hence, Steve's comment might make more sense. They should have been watching the house instead of doing the Banfield stop. That makes a fuck ton of sense. Oh my God. I don't even know if people understand why it makes so much sense. Where that special patrol, where the officers, that special patrol, and I believe it was a special patrol, that's a long story. It's a special patrol dedicated to the University of Idaho. Police officers dedicated to the University of Idaho per contract on a special patrol to watch off-campus housing. Where that cop car was parked that night before the Banfield stop, from what I've been told and what I've seen on camera, is looking directly between an alleyway from the White's apartments and another building. I think it's called the Treehouse, whatever. But it looks right through an alleyway directly at 1122 King Road residence. Listen. This is big. Listen, that police car is looking right down an alley between the Whites and another building and can see essentially 1122 King Road residence from Taylor Avenue where they were parked. They could look right in it. If those officers were parked there, one could argue they were watching. It's huge. I don't talk about this often. This is big. I hope you stayed to watch this part because it's a big shocker at the end, right? Those officers were parked in such a way that they could have been watching 1122 King Road residents. If the Banfield stop distracted them and they did a arrest on underage drinking, an investigation into underage drinking, and they stopped looking at the house and the murders happened right while they were distracted, that would be a huge embarrassment, both to the Moscow Police Department, to the University of Idaho, and could allegedly explain why everyone wants to cover this fucking thing up, because they literally were watching the house and protecting a CI, and they let a CI get killed right under their noses. I've said this over and over again. If they got a CI killed right under their noses, that would explain why they would have so much to lie about, because they wouldn't want the embarrassment of they just got a bunch of college kids killed because they knew something was coming. They knew something bad was coming. They were supposed to watch the house. People have brought up how many times officers were circling the neighborhood that night. It all leads to the possibility that house was under surveillance by police department because they knew a hit was coming on the house, or there was a threat to a CI on the house. And if they got distracted, purposely or not purposely, and the murders happened right under their nose during that window, that would explain so much in this case. I hope you stayed to the very end to hear that part, because that's kind of a bombshell situation. And I think it's a great place to end for the night. In fact, I might tease in the intro that the biggest bomb happens at the end. Is that horrible? Is that like baiting people? Stay to the very, very end. Of course, I want you to stay to the very, very end. It helps me with watch time hours. You'll just skip ahead to the end, and that's fine too. But anyways, hope you watched. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this version of the Fireside Chat. I only got to question 14 of 34 Idaho questions. So I believe I will do one more Fireside Chat, maybe, if it's not burning you out. I'll do one more Fireside Chat and try to get through questions, 15 through 34. So maybe it's going to be a two-parter today. Thanks for listening. Like, subscribe, and all those great things. Doesn't cost you anything to do that. And if you want to do membership, $2.99 will get you access to a whole bunch of bonus content that is worth it. Have a great day.